Various organizations have already stepped in to assist parts of the country that have been affected by the riots and looting. Officials warning of major food shortages as the unrest is likely to have a major knock-on effect on the rest of the country. In fact, that whole food supply, food production, food distribution value chain has been badly affected. Let's speak now to Rise Against Hunger Africa. Joining me is CEO Brian Nell. I wonder what they're going to be doing. Brian, good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday View. Thank you very much for your time. Say, difficult days. I mean, in an ordinary time, without the pandemic and without now this mayhem that's been caused by the violence, your organization, Rise Against Hunger Africa, every year does a lot of work to feed the hungry. We know that plus minus 12 million South Africans go to bed hungry, according to stats, every day. But that has worsened. That's been exacerbated by the pandemic. And now this mayhem.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, Dan. It's a really dire situation out there. And it's also been quite frustrating for the most part of this week for organizations like ourselves who are just, we might have the means to help, and we do have some meals to help people, but we haven't been able to move around up till now. So it's kind of really frustrating.
Are you beginning to move now that things are sort of coming down? We're seeing soldiers on the ground. We're hearing tough talk from the head of the defense force. Are you beginning to see a little bit of opening of some of the routes that you might want to use safely to assist those who are hungry?
Yes, we are, Dan. So down in KZN, we actually have a branch down in KZN, but it's in quite a hotspot area at the moment. Fortunately, we weren't looted or raided, but quite a few of the warehouses around us were burned. So we were quite reluctant to open that branch. So working with some of our corporate donors and logistics companies, we've managed to send down some meals. Just this morning, just over 70,000 meals of our meals left for KZN. So they're on their way there now. And we're hoping to send another 75,000 on Monday. So the good news I heard today, I think the N3 is open and been secured, and so hopefully we'll start to be able to get more and more meals from Johannesburg down into the KZN area.
And where you're sourcing the meals from, I mean, that's where the production happens. How badly have those producers, if at all, been affected? Because I guess in parts of Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal, they might have been.
Yes, so we were fortunate to have quite a bit of stock on hand, and we've got quite a bit of the raw ingredients on hand in our warehouses. But some of our food partners like Tastic Rice and our soya company have been really affected down in the Durban area. So we're okay for now, and let's hope they can recover so we can start getting ingredients during the course of next week. So we're okay for now, but it is a major concern for us going forward.
Yeah. And what are your suppliers telling you? I mean, you've just mentioned producers of Tastic Rice, for example. I think that's Tiger Brands, if I'm not wrong, if my memory serves me right. One of their brands is Tastic Rice. What are they telling you? How soon those who've been affected, particularly in the KZN area, how soon can they get back to some kind of production that they can then supply you, then you're able to feed the hundreds of thousands of households that you feed as Rise Against Hunger in South Africa?
So Dan, I think fortunately they did have quite a bit of stock holding up here in Johannesburg. I think it'll take them a while to recover, specifically with the warehouses that were hit down in the KZN area. I think they're also just trying to work out before they, offer us some sort of commitment. But by all accounts, I think we should be okay. As long as the N3 remains open and calm is restored, I think people will start being able to re-gear and get operational fairly soon.
Yeah, just give a sense, Brian, to our viewers who might not know much about Rise Against Hunger. You and I have spoken on this channel before in the past few years, each time, around your campaigns. I mean, how many people through your network are you reaching? I mean, how many households and how many meals per day? And today, as we speak, knowing what you know, what kind of extra help you need, particularly now after this calamity that has befallen our country in the last week or so?
Yes, so Dan, I mean, we predominantly support children between the ages of 1 and 6, which has also been quite a challenge this week, also especially here in Gauteng as well, because a lot of the early childhood developments we support are in hotspot areas or have been hotspot areas. So it's been quite a challenge to get through to them. But yeah, but at the moment when crisis like this hits, we work with a lot of other NGOs that are on the ground, like in KZN and in Gauteng, and we support them with meals. But we're hoping to get back to start providing meals to our regular donors at the moment.
Yeah, and how many meals are those? Those that are regular, that you're busy with?
So typically we distribute around about 7 million meals a year nationally, on a national level.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll be able to continue going forward. I'm going to be talking later on, Brian. I just got the last question. I'm going to be speaking to Andy Duplessis. I'm sure he's known to you. He's MD of Food Forward SA. They supply over 1,200 NGOs, 1,200 NGOs as Food Forward South Africa. Now, their KwaZulu-Natal warehouse was vandalized. I mean, and these NGOs provide more than 4 million meals a month to the poor. I mean, how devastating is that warehouse is now gone?
When I heard that, it's very sad. In fact, I was actually chatting to Andy yesterday because part of this first shipment of 71,000 odd meals, they're going to assist us on the ground to distribute. So we're working with Food Forward at the moment in KZN. But it's really sad to hear. City Hope Disaster Relief Organisation, also based in Durban, who we work with, and we worked with a lot last year during COVID, they were also looted. And, you know, it's just really a shame because it just compounds the issue. You know, as you said, we're already facing 12 million people pre-COVID. This last year has increased that number, and we spoke the other day on eNCA about food price increases, and now this. It's really setting up for a major disaster with food security.
Yeah, I posted on my social media platforms yesterday that it is time for us as South Africans to stand and work together to build a future and a country, a nation that we'll all be proud of. I want to give you an opportunity as a South African who helps all those children to be fed on a daily basis, together, of course, with your team at Rise Against Hunger and other NGOs. I mean, you know, those meals that you mentioned, 12 million meals a year, it's quite a bit. What would your appeal be, knowing what you know now, in terms of the food shortages that we're facing now as a country?
I think just to say, you know, it's a huge crisis, and there's just we shouldn't have this kind of a situation in South Africa. We've got the means to try and end hunger, specifically around about 2030, you know, in line with the SDGs. But we need to keep it forefront of mind. We need to remind ourselves that there are still millions of people every day going without food. And so we just need to work together. I mean, corporate South Africa and individuals have really rallied behind us over the last couple of days. And the majority of the people want to help. The majority of the people just are really reaching out. So it's just really a few that have created this situation. But and a big thank you to everybody who supports any organization that assists with food security around South Africa. We need to keep it up. And it's a basic need, and we need to push through until that problem is solved.
Thank you very much, Brian. Brian, Nell, we wish you all the best with your efforts at Rise Against Hunger Africa, particularly here in South Africa, now with these efforts in KwaZulu-Natal and parts of Gauteng. With the N3 now being opened, hopefully it will stay open and things will be stable, he says, and they will carry on to try and feed as many people as they can.